Hey, what up team? It's Joe Mill here, back with Killer Miller Q, and tonight we actually putting together a little bit of prep. Tomorrow we're going to be featuring a mean cook with some of AC Barbecue's finest rub on his beautiful prime rib, breaking out the old Lone Star. Let's get right to it. We got a lot of work. And cut the music as you're looking at our participant of today's cook. We got this beautiful 5.17 pound ribeye roast, or I hate saying prime rib when it's not prime, but it's a choice one. Prime enough for me. We got some pretty good looking marbling in there. We're going to definitely treat it well. I'm not going to do too much to it. Maybe I'll kind of even off this fat layer on top just a tad bit. But as you can see, it is the 12 o'clock hour, late night, and I feel like it's the perfect time at midnight to add a little bit of this midnight smoke. I'm going to break into my Father's Day gift here from my girls for the old AC Barbecue. We're going to get a little bit of this midnight smoke rubbed in on here, and then I'm going to throw this on a wire rack, and it's going in the fridge. Good old midnight smoke is on there. You can see I dropped that fat cap down just a little bit. Still want to keep me some on there. You don't want to gouge into your meat, but I did want to bring it down a little bit. It's already got bones on the bottom. I didn't season my bone side, but I'm not too worried about that. I didn't worry about cutting it away from the bone as I've done before. I want to cook that thing whole. So I'm going to let this thing hang out just like you see it. My first impressions tasting this midnight smoke right here outside or straight out the bottle, it's definitely got some smoke in it. I can tell you that. It's got a good flavor, not too heavy on the salt. You see old Cedric and Anthony Anderson on there. Where we at? There we go. It isn't too heavy on the salt. It's got a little bit of a sweet taste, but it's nice and smoky. I'm having an idea where I've also might be able to infuse this in here. Maybe on some times when you don't got as much time to get as much smoke in, this might be a good rub, especially if you do any of these recipes in the oven. But let's get this in the fridge. I'll catch y'all in the morning. And here we are the morning after. We got that roast out the fridge. Gave it a good bath of that midnight smoke at midnight. So it was able to kind of hang out overnight in the fridge uncovered just like that. So we got a nice deep penetration of that there. We got my Lone Star over there coming up the temp. You can see some of that thin blue smoke if you pay attention real close like. Right there. So the next thing we're going to do to kind of really level this thing up is I'm coming over the top with the heavy hitter, the MVP. So one thing I noticed, I think I said this last night about both of these rubs, is they both got some smoke in here. So we'll see what that's like coming off the smoke with some smoke in the rub. This one here I think has a little bit more of a saltier taste to me than the midnight smoke. That midnight smoke was definitely smooth and easy. This one right here is going to pop a little bit. So we're going to hit a little bit over the top, bring out that color, let that sweat in, and then we're actually going to do something special with the way we get this going on the cook. Okay, now we good to go. MVP is on top. We're going to let this hang out and come on up to closer to room temperature for about a good 20 minutes while that fire is evening out. And then we're going to get this thing rolling. So we up to temp. Don't mind my dirty grill over here, but we got to get my baby cleaned up. Give y'all a view of what she's looking like. Had to show y'all what she's looking like after, what, about 3 years or something. And get it cleaned up and do a new video. But a couple things we're going to do to prep this chambers. I want to take this top rack out, so we're just going to pull that up out of here, and then I'm going to get rid of my griddle pan that's on here. This thing is heavy and screaming hot, and we're going to get that out the way to expose that top layer grate. And what we're going to be doing different today is usually I do a reverse sear. I let it sit on the indirect side for a good amount of time, and at the end try to get a little bit of color. We're going to take care of it up front, get us some color, get a good hard sear on there, and then I'm going to put it over there on the other side and let it kind of finish out until I get up to temp. So we'll see how that works out today. Let me go get my welding gloves on and get this squared away. So it's go time, ladies and gentlemen. I only wanted to bring you in here one more time because as this thing had time to sweat out, man, this rub smells good, but it also looks beautiful. I'm ready to get a little bit of sear on this thing. My game plan is I'm going to start it face side down, meaning like on this meat side, for about 1 minute. My fire's still screaming a little bit, so I'm going to let it break down to the point where I can start off with pretty much nothing but coals so it can sit on there and give me a little bit of color, and then we'll start working it around. So 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute is usually what I'll go for. Check it and then move it to the other side, and then I can always keep working it around until I get to the color I want. Versus if I go too long, put too much of a scorch on there, I want to try to keep it pretty. So that's gonna be my game plan. This thing's looking good. This rub also, not only like I said, it smells good, but if you can see, it has a nice texture to it. That midnight smoke had a lot of those bigger, I believe those like are pepper type seeds or something like that are in there. I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing's gonna taste once we get it all said and done. But let's get over there and get to the work. All right, already got me some cooking oil down on that grate. I'm gonna hurry up and close this thing up. Not too much of a flame kicking up, but I hear some good sizzle. We're gonna let this thing chill out for a good minute. Okay, opening it up. We at about 1 minute. Not looking bad. I'm gonna leave it. Hey fam, I want to jump in here real quick and let you know, thanks for following along on today's cook. If you're new to the channel, go to that bottom right corner, make sure you subscribe, check out some of them other videos that you missed, and if you haven't done it already, find me on Facebook, IG, and TikTok. Let me show you what's going on. We've been still rocking steady. I haven't added nothing in. I did about 5 minutes on that front side. Try to open it slow so I don't pull all them coals and that stuff up, ashes up here, something I've learned. It's looking good. The other side's been down about 2 minutes or so, so I'm about to be doing that. And then I'll put it on its head, and that's where the fat is at. So I wanted to kind of wait for that until the end so I don't kick this fire up too much. But we starting to get a good little bit of color on here. This thing smells amazing already, and it looked like it's ready to eat, but we got a long way to go. A few more minutes later, that bottom side there ended up getting probably not quite to 5. I want to say that one was probably only about 4 minutes. You can tell it's starting to get cooked a little bit. So now we got it going on its head for a little bit. I am going to throw it on the bone side at the end. But we're getting us a nice little bit of color. Getting us a little bit of that. And then we know we're going to finish that out with some smoke. And it'll also get a little bit more darkness there. Only gave that fat side a couple minutes. You know, that them drips start coming down there. You get that flame kicking up real quick. So luckily I didn't leave too long for that. I'm over there taking care of the nose of it. I'm gonna let it get just a little bit of moment of this color, and then I'm pretty good, I think, for what it's worth. I'll char the sides a little bit just one more time, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this thing into the smoke. Almost forgot that bone side, so these about ready to come off now. Looking good, looking good. Got me some good char on there. Got that fat charred up a little bit. Got us some good color. Now we done locked that in. Got me my first layer of base. Let's get this off of here. We add a little bit more wood to this fire, and then we'll get this thing smoking. Okay, so went ahead and put the plate back on here. I don't like leaving that off too much, and I don't want, even though I think it's fine, I don't love too much of that super heat taking on this direct top, so that way it can still look pretty. But I'm throwing in 2 small ones, and I'm gonna leave this thing open. Right now I don't have the prime rib on, but I'm gonna let this get nice and caught. It's 2 small little sticks of pecan wood, and what I think I'm about to do is I'm gonna bring in a nice big chunk of cherry that we're gonna let this thing finish smoking at. I'll let you see what it looks like, and then also I want to get a temp. And we can check this thing out while that fire is coming up to temp. I tell you what, this thing look like it's already ready to rock. Smelling good. Good little bit of caramelization on here. Good little bit of color. I love that redness that it's got. Let me see what I'm looking like. Yeah, in the temp. Perfect. Nowhere close, right? 57 degrees, so this thing is nowhere close to ready. All we did was just get a little bit of color, char up a little bit of that fat over there on top, gave it a little bit of color on the outside. Let me give you a nice little 360 spin. Took a little bit on his bald head in the back on this spot, and a little bit on that side. So just a little bit of char. That's gonna give us another little flavor profile. I'm gonna let them wood sticks get up a little bit. We're gonna throw that cherry chunk in once those get nice and fired up, and we're gonna toss this baby in. And I'm gonna be cooking this to around a roughly medium on the inside. Keep on the outside, you're gonna be a little bit more done. I like my meat a little more done than probably the average, but I'm gonna go for roughly around a 150 in the middle. All right, fire is stoked. I got a nice big piece of cherry wood in there now. We're gonna let this thing smoke slow. My guess is it's probably gonna be roughly about 275 once this thing comes to the temp. I just had this open. We got that pretty thing right there sitting over there in that bath of smoke. We're gonna let it hang out until it gets to roughly around 150-ish, and then we'll get it up out of here, let it rest, and you know what to do. I'll bring you back. So we rocking along 1 hour in. I've been more or less 250, 275-ish. It's been smooth. Oh yeah, look at that baby. It's been dripping. I cleaned this off and cleaned this out a little bit before I got going. So most of that juice and the oil that I see down there, that is definitely from this one right here. I'm gonna get a check an hour in, see where we at. Now for some people, they would almost be ready to take it up off of here. 115 degrees. Yeah, it is juicy. I can hear it. It's got a beautiful, obviously, look already. We're just getting some of this good clean smoke in, and pretty much from here on out, all I'm gonna do is keep on adding those cherry chunks in. So I'm gonna grab one right now, and we're gonna let this thing keep riding. So it's an hour and 20 minutes in. I'm adjusting this wood in here, so I'll bring you in. Probably gonna rotate this thing around. Ooh, and this thing is dripping. Check that out. That color, that AC barbecue. Looking good, getting smoky. I'm gonna check the temp, and then I'm gonna go ahead and give it a full rotation. It's been pretty much cooking the whole time this way. You know, I like to try to keep it even, but we'll see where we at. 131-ish. Okay, let me rotate this thing, and I figure another 15-20 minutes we should be good. 25 minutes later, still holding strong, 250, 275-ish, and literally I'm in the pool and this thing was calling out to me. So I think it's time. Hello. And when I say calling out to me, I just mean that I can literally smell this all the way from where I was at. It's still not ready though. 138. I know some people's like, get that off of there. Not for me. But I love this color and love getting that bark and everything on there up front to make sure that's already in there. Now I'm just waiting on the time. Oh, I love it when a plan is coming together. We're about 2 hours, 15 minutes in. We've been rocking and rolling, steady, Freddy. This thing is smelling good. It's looking good. I'm thinking it's almost gotta be close to time to take it off, but we're gonna keep checking it out. Yep. I said I wanted to get to about 150 internal. That's what it looked like. Obviously we got our sear up front, so I ain't gotta worry about nothing, and I'm gonna let this thing hang out. Let me pull it. Back inside, you can get a little peek of that thing with not so much of that ultraviolet light on there, but this baby nice and flavorful looking, smelling, everything else. I love that red color, but I already know it's gonna have some good flavor on it. I can't wait. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this right in the microwave. I'm gonna let it hang out for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, and then we'll slice into it. So this thing has had long enough to rest, probably a good 15 minutes or so. I'm just gonna take this little bit of juice that was left on this plate and pour it right over the top. We pulled it at about 150. You know, you got a little bit of carryover, but I'm not too worried, as I know I'll be shaving this thing down and then ending up with a lot of like cheesesteak type options. First things first, I want to get these bones off of here. So I'm just going to try to follow as close as I can along that seam side. Almost lost my meat. Bam. Nice and successful, pretty clean. That's where I missed my dog. Normally this would have been his or her treat. But you got your couple ribs there that you can mess with. Got that little piece of bone I got to try to cut through. I ain't going to worry too much about it. We just shook this whole thing down. I'm going to go ahead and take off this tail and set that to the side, which has plenty of meat left on it. And now we get down, pardon my shaking, to the daddy here. Get us a good view of what we're looking at. We'll cut some thin slices, somewhat respectful slices, right off the edge. Keep in mind the outside is going to be a little more done and your middle will be a little less done. This ain't nothing but ribeye meat. That's perfect. Just the way I like mine. Still nice and juicy, as you can see. Obviously it's not as bloody, but still plenty juicy. I'm gonna get some of this right here with all that rub on there. It's just pulling apart. Not bad. Not too much smoke either. Let me get a little finishing salt on there. Oh yes. And we got ourselves another cook out the way. Both of these rubs right here, man, we're gonna start in. I'll tell you a little bit about these. I enjoyed them. First off with this midnight smoke, the one thing that kind of took me by surprise was both of these rubs got a lot of smoke in it, like an actual smoky flavor that's automatically in there. So instantly, one of the things I thought about was these would be some good rubs if I ever doing an inside cook in the oven and I'm trying to actually find out a way to impart a little bit more of that smoke flavor. Both of these rubs got some good smoke in there. Both of them don't have a lot of salt, which is actually a good thing. I'll definitely probably be sliding these into my meal prep during the week and everything. Not a whole lot of sodium, which is actually pretty solid. You're able to kind of double layer these and not end up being too salty. So that's something that I actually like being able to do and something to keep in mind. We started this cook with the midnight smoke at midnight, which we pretty much did overnight like a dry brine. This rub was coarse. It had a lot of big pieces in it, which I actually liked. It actually added into the texture later on. But this is definitely a rub that you want to use on beef, I would say. It's kind of reminded me of a little bit more of a coffee type rub, a little bit more of those type flavors, but a lot of good other seasonings in there as well. And then we finished up the next day after it had been sitting in that midnight smoke overnight, and we came with that MVP. This MVP got a little bit more of a redder color, probably a little bit more paprika in here, a little bit more flavor, a little bit more citrus. I would definitely see this probably being a great one on some chicken, along with vegetables and some things like that. But this combination together, put together a nice winner, man. The one thing that I did like I said, the roast itself, the prime rib, wasn't too salty. I maybe could have threw a little bit of salt on there along with that rub, but you know that first time through, you gotta get a taste tester so I know where it's at. But overall, I hit exactly where I wanted my temperature to be, which is roughly 150 in the center. We was able to get about 2 hours, 15 minutes of smoke in there. So I got some good smoke flavor in there. Was using that cherry wood on top of the little bit of pecan I had in there. Overall, gave me a beautiful color. I enjoy doing the, I want to say reverse sear, but actually I seared first. Got that sear on there. So many times when I do the reverse sear, I get a decent looking color from sitting out there in the smoke, and by the time I pull it out and actually start to work to get my sear in there, I start hitting the temperatures I want before I probably get the crust that I'm looking for. Doing it first, I kind of like, because one, it locks in all of those flavors and those juices and everything. Make sure none of my rub and stuff falls off. I was able to get a great looking color on there and a pretty solid looking sear all the way around, and then was able to kind of just slide it over. I think when I got done searing, I was still only at about 69-ish or something like that on internal. So I was still able to kind of slide it over there to the indirect side and be able to let it get plenty of time with plenty of smoke. Overall, once again, the Lone Star did good work, and it came out money. It was nice again being able to start off that cook direct right over some light coals with a little bit of that cherry in there, and then being able to kind of slide over there and get some of that smoke for the long term. I can't complain. Once again, shout out to old Anthony Anderson and Cedric, man. It's good to see you brothers out there doing big things, and they got a pretty solid product. I can't be mad. Big shout out to Wifey and my little girl for hooking me up with this one for Father's Day. This is a great gift. I do got that lemon stepper up there along with some of them barbecue sauces, so you'll definitely see a few more of these rubs and some of these cooks again later. But to start off, I had to go see where the beef was at and get some of that good stuff in my life. Big shout out to my boys over there at Black Smoke Barbecue, putting up some great content. Make sure you check out that channel if you haven't already. The Country Cookout was one of my favorites that I kind of peeked at most recently.
But other than that, all my family that's been out there supporting since day one, you out there in TV land, we is doing something special. Come on and keep going with this movement. I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.